Hello everyone, bonjour. You're here, I'm queer yet again, and welcome back to part 2 of this two-part video. Yes, for this video, I will be repainting a LOL doll. A lot of you guys are actually requesting for me to repaint the OMG LOL dolls. I have 2 of them, and we will be repainting one of them. I believe this is the Groovy doll, and I love her so much. I am actually really in love with the fashions of the OMG dolls. They're just, I mean, it's MGA. It's always going to be very, very detailed. The fashions are just going to be very extra. They're always very trendy. They're a very good timestamp of the current fashions at that time. And these ones, the Groovy ones, are actually inspired by like retro fashions, specifically like mod. And I'm like, wow, amazing. Like I said, I'll be taking you into this long journey. It wouldn't be that long. I recorded more on this face up. Like I said, I usually, whenever I am doing a doll face up, I would skip a layer in between layers that I present on camera. So like I would present you the first layer, I would even present you the second layer, and then I would skip the third, and then I'll present you the fourth layer. I'll skip the fifth, and then I'll give you the sixth layer. Just to save more time, obviously I don't want it to be so long. But this one, I recorded every single layer. I literally jotted down. I was like, layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. There's still gonna be time lapse for some of the color adding and all that. But for the most part, I definitely made sure that this is as detailed as possible to really better understand it. Because when I was new in doll repaints, I'm like, I don't understand. What do you mean by layer? What do you mean by saving? What do you mean by Mr. Super Clear? But yeah, for the style of this one, I definitely wanted to actually really reference MydNyte Grey Earth, specifically Guru Clef, for the eyes. Just the eye shape is so beautiful. I referenced the iris for this one. I don't usually do those types of catch lights. I like my catch lights to be like kind of like not blended but like sketched out looking. And for this one, I definitely reference Guru Clef from MydNyte Grey Earth because we have so much eye space. I'm like, oh my god, yes. Just so you guys know, it's really definitely fun to work with big eyes because you can put so much details in there. Oh my god, imagine an LOL doll with a Makoto Takahashi eyes. That would be magical, actually. But yeah, with that being said, I really do hope that this will help you get started with your face-up journey, with your repaint hobby. It's long, but hopefully it's informative. It's informative, yes. But yes, let's go ahead with the video. So I will be using the LOL Surprise OMG Lights Groovy Babe doll from MGA, and as you can see, she has really big eyes, so it's really good for beginners, I would say, because you can just kind of go crazy with the design and just have fun with it. And yeah, first, of course, we will be taking our acetone or nail polish remover, and let's go ahead and remove her factory paint. I usually do maybe like 2 to 3 times of wiping the face off just to be completely sure that there is no trace of factory paint left. And now I just wrap her up completely so that only the face will be shown. Make sure that the hair, the body is all covered up. And here I'll show you guys how I spray Mr. Super Clear. Make sure to have a mask on and make sure you are outside. As you can see, this is a respirator mask. Boom. Look at that. Pink for your nerve. But yes, just make sure you wear a mask when you are spraying Mr. Super Clear. It's very toxic. Very toxic. Oh, she's going over there. Oh, now she's going over here. And now we take our Mr. Super Clear, and this is the UV cut in flat, and you just shake it up, and this is just how I spray it. Make sure it's kind of far. I test it out first to make sure where the wind is going, and then we just spray lightly while rotating the doll. As you can see, there's a face up on it. This is actually Spoiler alert, the ending of the face up. My camera did not record me spraying the first time, so yeah, but it's still the same. This is how I spray throughout the layering process, as you can see. You just want to make sure you're rotating the doll, and oop, another one. There we go. So that was 2 layers of Mr. Super Clear because I do 2 layers in the beginning and 2 layers in the end. And so now let's go ahead and take our Derwent watercolor pencils. I'm using Raw Umber or even Van Dyke Brown. Probably Raw Umber is better for sketching just because it's a little bit lighter and it's easier to erase. And now we can go ahead and start sketching the initial design, specifically the eyes. And as you can see, the LOL dolls are heavily sculpted in the eye area. And so it's a little bit difficult to kind of change up the style of the eyes. I wanted a more kind of like a dewy look, but it really wasn't working out. And so I was like, let's do a half closed eye, and then I'm gonna embrace the mold of the eyes. And I think it works a little bit better. It does give it more of like the Smize look, and so I'm happy with that. So let me go ahead and erase this one. And because we use Raw Umber for it, it's not really that dark, so it's easy to erase. And now we can go ahead and repeat the other eye onto this one. I decided to just make the crease rounded as much as possible because there's really no way to really mask how heavily molded these eyes are. So like I said, just embrace it and just work with it. I actually changed my mind and I wanted to give her kind of like a smirk with her eyebrows, and so we're just gonna go ahead and lift the front over here just to make it look a little bit more sassy. And now this is where the MydNyte Ray Earth Guru Clef inspired eyes is gonna go. As you can see, I'm just kind of mapping it out to see if it actually will work. And I ended up loving the result. I loved the sketched out look of it. So I was like, yes, we can go for this one. And so now we can go ahead and add the colors. And so I'm gonna make this red eyes. I love ruby red eyes. Specifically when the pupil itself is also kind of like ruby red. And so we're just gonna go ahead and do that. And now I'm taking my soft pastels and kind of like a combination of pink and also red. And I'm just mapping out her lips. And I just want this lips to be natural looking, so there's no lipstick or anything. So it's just gonna be like a lip stain effect. And also we gotta add the showing teeth look because I love that. And I'm just doing that with pencil. And now for her eyeshadow, I will be giving her purple shadow. I love purple and red together. And so here we go. This is the first purple. This would be the medium purple, I would say, because I definitely used a lighter one and also a darker one. So here we go with the lighter one. I'm mainly focusing the light purple onto the inner corners of her eyes. And then for the outer corners, I will give it kind of like the smoked out look. So this one is a darker purple. I'm taking a sand watercolor pencil and I'm just giving her brow bone some highlight also. And I don't fill up the entire thing. I definitely like it to be faded out, and so I use a brush for that. And before I forget, I also sketched out her lower lashes. And now it's time for blushing using soft pastels. And usually I do this at the end of every layer. I'm slowing this down so you guys can see, but for her eyeshadow specifically, you saw that I filled it in completely with the pencil, but you can still see through her skin, like her skin is still showing through. So that means we need to do another layer. So this is layer 3, and we can now continue with the color building. As you can see, I'm working on her iris. I love working on the iris first for some reason, and then I go out. I ended up covering all of the catch lights just so that, I don't know, it's clean cleaner for the end. I'll just use paint for it. And so you literally just repeat all of the same exact steps you did in layer 1 just to build all of those colors. And so now over here, I'm adding the purple onto the eyeshadow again, and as you can see, it's drastically a lot more coverage. However, you can still see through the skin. So we really gotta focus on that. I mean, I love focusing on the eyes when it comes to my repaints, so yeah. Just for fun, I want to show you guys how you really can't erase through the first layer. As you can see, the eyebrows, we didn't do anything to it yet, and it doesn't erase, it doesn't go away because we already sealed it. So, you know, this is the second layer technically. And because we did the eyebrows in the first layer, it's already protected and it won't be erased. And we're back with eyeshadow, and as you can see, we're just working on that darker purple. I love this combination of like a smoky look. Like, I love smoky eyes on dolls, and I just feel like it gives it so much dimension. And as you can see over here, I am blending those two together. I took the same purple I used for the middle, and I'm just kind of marrying them. I also want to layer up her brow bone, as you can see over here, so I'm taking the same sand color, and I'm just doing that. I like highlighting the brow bones just to give the dolls a little bit more of a dimension with their faces. Taking some pastels, I'm giving her eyeshadow some halo effect, and as you can see, it's very, very faint. It's kind of like a lilac color right now, but it's supposed to be purple. But we'll layer it up in the following layers. And now let's give her some snatch brows, and I just decided to go with black. I believe it would be a good contrast with her really, really white hair. And as you can see, I just love a really, really sharp brows. I usually like to start with lines in the beginning of the brows, and then I fill it in completely. But that's just my style. There's so many eyebrow styles out there that you guys can kind of explore, but this is what I like. And now it's time for the eyeliner. Yes, oh my god, of course, this also needs to be very, very sharp, very MydNyte Ray Earth, like just heavy liner. And this one was fun because the eyeliner on the dolls are molded as well. And here I'll show you guys how to kind of make it a little bit more sharper. Sometimes the pencil will not give you a really, really sharp line, and so you gotta have to work with X-Acto knife for that. And yeah, look at that. Yes. And of course, we have to line her bottom lashes as well. Whenever I'm making my dolls and I want them to have a quote-unquote natural lips, a no lipstick lips, I like to add lines to it, and I just do that with like softer pinks, white, and all that, and I feel like it just makes it gives it the lip wrinkles, which is very realistic. So as you can see, I go all over the place whenever I'm repainting, literally all over the place. I work on the eyes, I work on the lips, and then I go back to the eyes, and then I go to the eyebrows. Look at that, all over the place. I think that's just how I work. I like to take breaks from each feature and then work on another one. So yeah, but for this one, we're still on the same layer. I'm adding the shadow onto her eyes. I love it when there's like a shadow onto that. Even though it's supposed to be completely red, I do like to add the black there just to give the pupil dimension. But the pupil itself is not supposed to be black. It's just kind of like a shadow from, I don't know, her eyelids. I'm taking a ruby red just to line the insides of her lips, and not completely all of it. I'm just trying to give it, again, dimension and shadow. Taking my white pencil, I'm trying to highlight her iris, and as you can see, it's kind of working. It's not that opaque, but it's definitely lifting it up and highlighting it, so it's really, really cool. And again, with our blushing, which means we are ending this layer. And now we're in the fourth layer. As you can see, I'm working on the iris again. I love working on the eyes, I guess, first and foremost. And I'm just taking this pink to kind of really highlight the iris and make it brighter. And then I'm taking white. And as you can see, it's drastically lifting and it's just working. So the layer building is really up to you. As you can see, I'm covering up her eyes again with red. I just feel like I can blend it a little bit more and I can get better results. And so I'm trying to just cover it with red. And then I'll go back again with the black to redo the same exact effect. And I feel like it will give me a better look. It'll give me a better combination. So there's really a lot of sandwiching colors, but overall, it really depends on you and what you like. Over here, I'm just highlighting her Cupid's bow a lot more with white pencil. I believe I did this in the second layer, technically. And I'm also taking the white for her brow bones, not the sand. This is the white. And I'm also doing that for her lips. I think there was a comment that said, why do you keep adding white onto the scleras and onto the lips if you're gonna cover it with paint anyway? Which is very true. I don't know why I do it. I think I like seeing the full effect. I like building it, and I like knowing that there is pencil behind paint for some reason. I don't know. But yes, I mean, I will be covering her scleras and also her teeth with white acrylic paint. So you can definitely skip this, like what I'm doing right now with whitening her eyes and stuff. And I'm just adding some lines over here to really imitate Guru Clef's iris. I saw that there was like parallel lines to it, so I was like, wow, really, really cool. We gotta try that. With this much of an eye space, you really want to just be as creative as you can be, because you definitely have the real estate for it. So this is kind of why I skip like a layer or two whenever I'm normally presenting you a doll project, because it's really repetitive. And I feel like you don't, I mean maybe you do, but it's just the same exact thing, same exact color, same exact placement. Like over here, I'm building the shadow again. I decided to highlight the center of her eyelids, so I added the lighter purple there, and I decided to blend it. And as you can see, it gives it kind of like a shimmering look, which I loved, and so I stuck with it. And then again, I'm taking my pastels in the purple, and I'm just kind of layering that up for the halo effect that I did for her eyeshadow. The halo is there just so that it doesn't look too harsh, like the eyeshadow by itself. So I thought that just makes it a little bit more diffused looking, a little more smoked out, a little bit more natural. I feel like my definition of natural is really not the same as everyone's, but it's alright. And yes, this is actually my first LOL repaint, and I'm really, really excited about it. It's really, really cool. I'm just trying to think of other ways to really change up the eye shape. I don't think there is. I feel like it's just gonna be like a smized look, like a sleepy look, and I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I'm gonna try and see if there are other ways we can change up the eye shape, because it's literally molded to be circle. It's literally circle. And now I'm coming in with my white acrylic paint, and as you can see, I'm covering up the white pencil that I built up, just very carefully. This will just make it very opaque and very clean, like literally solid, like it will be a solid white. And I was listening to CL when I was repainting this, so I was like, you know what? Let's give her CL's iconic beauty mark. And again, with the blushing, as you can see, I'm mixing peaches and pinks for the blushing, by the way. And that means this layer is done. And now we're on layer 5. And now I'm just gonna go ahead and redraw the catch lights, the MydNyte Ray Earth Guru Clef inspired catch lights. And as you can see, it's easily drawn onto the layered eyes. And now I go to my acrylic paint and we're gonna fill it in. So the reason why I draw it with pencil first is, again, we wanna map things out before we go with paint. Paint, specifically acrylic paint, is actually very hard to remove. You have to scrape it. You can't just erase it. And by scraping it, you can actually risk damaging the layer and also the pencils. Actually, over here, you can see that this one and this one are not the same. This one is not as pointy and thin, so I'm softly scraping it just to make it a little bit more pointier. And the one that I erased like the pencil marks, by the way. And over here, I'm just adding more details to her iris, more lines, you know, just to give more dimension. And I'm also kind of adding a lighter red onto her pupils just to make it look like it's kind of glowing. And I just diffused that in there. Of course, for our new layer, we can't ignore the eyeshadow, so again, we're gonna do the same exact technique for the eyeshadow. I'm highlighting the center of her eyeshadow, and I'm just kind of fading that in. I'm using a really blunt brush as well. That kind of helps. Not so much, but it does, kind of. And I'm just going back with the same exact color combinations. And over here, I'm taking a really tiny brush and black pastels, and I'm really creating a shadow and a smoke effect onto the outer corner of her eyeshadow. I just feel like it blends it a little bit more, and it definitely makes the highlight of the eyeshadow pop. And just to give her some glow, some sparkle, I'm using Pearl X powders onto her cheek. I can't even say cheekbones. Her cheek with some Q-tip. And this one you definitely have to layer at least 3 times also. So I'll show you guys that. It kind of washes off when you spray Mr. Super Clear, that's why. And I'm also adding that onto her eyeshadow. Look at that. Oh my god, it really just changes the game for the eyeshadow. Wow. And just to be sure, I'm brushing off the excess. I don't want it there. I don't want it to stay there when I spray it with Mr. Super Clear. So you can just definitely brush it off. And now we have our layer 6. Again, we're gonna give her a dash of Pearl X powders, as you can see. Actually, you can see in camera that it wasn't that erased, but I just like to layer it for my sake, for real life. And now we're finally in layer 7, and that is the end of all of our layers. I sprayed her twice with Mr. Super Clear, and as you can see, she is completely set, and now we are ready for lashes. Now this one specifically was from Daiso. It is a Japanese dollar store. They don't have it here in Vegas, but they have it everywhere else. So this one I love so much. I use it specifically for big-eyed characters, so I believe I used this for the Powerpuff Girls, maybe him, and yeah, and now we're using it for this LOL doll. Let's go ahead and take it off, and you kind of want to bend it to make sure it's very flexible, and you want to see how much you need. Obviously the entire thing will not fit, so over here I believe 4 will match. Yes, 4 would be perfect, so let's go ahead and cut the excess. And for the glue, I'm just using Elmer's Glue All. The Glue All, I think, is the strongest one out of all of it. Obviously, you don't want to use like super glue or anything. Elmer's Glue All will suffice, and I just cut it individually so that it actually bends with the mold of the doll. And I feel like it's easier to actually apply when they're kind of separated like that. So I wait for this to dry for at least a few hours, maybe like 1 or 2, just to make sure that the glue is dry. Obviously we're giving it such thick amounts of glue, we want to make sure it's completely dried. And when it is, it should look like this. And as you can see the glue. It's not black, which bothers me a lot. I definitely like my lashes to be really black, so I go over it with black matte paint. I usually don't show this because it can get very tricky trying to get in there, and also with, like I said, acrylic paint, it's hard to make a mistake, so you really don't want to make a mistake when you're doing this, and that's why I usually do it off camera. But because this is a big eye, I was able to do it. And now we can go ahead and use our Sculpey Gloss Glaze to give her lips some sheen, some shine, some gloss. Oh my god, I love this stuff. And I actually do layer this twice. And now we're done. As you can see, this is the before of Miss Groovy Babe. And now, wow, I mean, I'm really happy with the results. I was glad I was able to kind of change her emotion and her expression a little bit. You guys know I love smizes. I love kind of like the sleepy eye look. I love it, and I think it looks really good. The lashes are amazing, and the MydNyte Ray Earth inspiration, oh my gosh, I'm living for it. And I'm just, the shadows, wow, I'm definitely in love with this, and I can't wait to repaint more LOL OMG Surprise Groovy Lights LOL Surprise dolls. Such a long freaking name, but yes, I had so much fun with this, and I definitely hope you guys learned from this. I hope that it was informative, and yeah, I hope it did, and I can't wait to see you guys tackle your first doll repaint.